but you won't let them completely come in, all the way in. And it could be your partner, your friend, could be a parent, maybe yourself. And you don't even know why. Or maybe you do. Remember Jordan from last episode? He is 32 now. Jordan is in a relationship, supposedly a pretty good one, but it isn't ending, and that's not the problem. Like, they cook together, they have their inside jokes, they go to bed together. From the outside, fine. But every time the partner gets close, really close, Jordan feels something happen inside his chest. Something contract. And it's not panic, it's not anger, something quieter than that. A pulling away that happens before he even decides to pull away. His partner says, "You are not really here." Jordan says, "I'm right here." And both of them knows that the partner is right, that somewhere underneath he is pulling away. And Jordan is good at this part. He's been doing this for 18 years. When his partner says, "Come closer," he changed the subject. He makes a joke. He says he loves them, and he means it. He really means it. But he says from somewhere safe. He performs being present so well that even he forget for a moment that he's performing. And that's the most dangerous part. Not that he's pulling away, that he no longer notices he's pulling away. He thinks it's commitment issue. He thinks it's a type. He thinks he just hasn't found the right person yet. And even though he's pretty sure she is, or she has been a right person for him, and it's not a commitment issue. It's not a commitment issue at all. To understand why a 32-year-old man can't let the person he loves all the way in, we have to go back 18 years. Jordan grew up with a cat. Her name was Bubbles. She came into the house the year he was born. So in Jordan's mind, she wasn't a pet. She was a part of his world, a way more than just a pet. And every birthday, every fever, every night, Jordan felt something he didn't know how to explain. Bubbles was there. Sometimes not even his parents, but she was. She slept on his chest when he was 12, and she watched him fail at the exam when he was 13. But on his 14th birthday, she died. Everyone grieved in the way they could. His mother cried for 2 days, then made the dinner like normal. His father went quiet for a week, but then he was talking about adopting another cat, and the relative said the right thing when by evening, life had already started moving again. But Jordan stayed where he was. Jordan didn't recover. Not in 2 days, not in 2 weeks, not in months. He was there in bed, crying and suffering for a whole year. Every morning for almost a year. He carried that pain. The same cat, same death, same family. Why was Jordan still bleeding when everyone else had moved on? The easy answer is he loved her more. That's what everyone would say. That's what you would say. That's what I would say in past as well. But that's not actually what was happening. It's a bit deeper. Pain is what his mother felt for 2 days. That's what pain is. Pain is what his father felt for a week. Pain is what the body does when something it loved is gone. Pain moves. What Jordan was experiencing for that whole year was something else. And it has a different name. Here's what was happening in his bedroom for a whole year. Jordan was lying there, telling himself a story about Bubbles, replaying the day she died, imagining what he could have done better, what he could have done differently, wondering if he'd noticed she was sick earlier, asking if he'd been a good boy to her, picturing her last breath, then doing it again, repeating like a loop in his head. His body had started moving through grief, sometimes in the second month. But his mind didn't stop for 10 more months. And that's the difference. Pain moves through the body. That's its property. Suffering repeats in the mind. It's a loop with never-ending path. It keeps going in circles. And the mind can keep telling the same story forever unless something stops it. You can literally be in a state of suffering not just 1 year, but a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, maybe your whole life. It really depends at what time you decide to stop the loop or something external stops it. But it has to stop, and only you can do that. In Jordan's case, no one stopped it. And that's where most stories about pain and suffering end. But there's a part that nobody tells you. I call it the third layer, the residue of pain and suffering. When suffering doesn't get seen, that's why being vigilant, as I told in my last episode, is so important to witness. If you don't witness your suffering, if you just let it go without seeing, and when the mind runs the loop for months and no one stops it, something happens. It doesn't dissolve, which we usually think because of time, suffering gets better and time heals everything. Most bullshit advice ever. Time doesn't heal shit. Seeing the suffering makes you better. And if you don't see it, as I said, it doesn't dissolve, it crystallizes. It hardens into something that the boy stops noticing because it has become part of him. By the time Jordan was 16, he's not thinking about Bubbles anymore. By 20, he barely remembers she existed. And by 25, he can talk about Bubbles' death like it never happened, without feeling anything. He thinks he's healed because they don't feel anything about Bubbles now. But in fact, he is not. Because at 32, when his partner says, "Come closer," something inside him still says no. The 14-year-old boy who lay in bed for a year decided something. Not in words, not consciously, not as a philosophy, but somewhere in his body, he decided loving something this much costs too much. 'Much. 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 ' Decades have passed, but that boy is still alive in him. The bruise has become the lens. Every relationship Jordan has been since then, he's been seeing through it. He's seeing the whole world through the lens which was made by the bruise. Bruises make the lens through which we perceive the world. Every partner he has pulled away, he's pulling away from bubbles. He was pulling away from bubbles dying. He just didn't know it. You are probably wondering why I'm talking about a cat here. And here's why. This isn't about Jordan's cat. It's about the moment in your life that has become the lens. Have you ever noticed that when someone shows interest in you, you lose interest in them? And you get too interested in someone who doesn't show the interest in you? You think that it's your type, just like how Jordan thought it's his type. But it's a pattern. The boy, the girl within you is really hurt by something and you haven't seen, you haven't met her or him yet. You have one of these two. Maybe not a cat. Maybe your parent abused you. Maybe a parent left you when you were small. Maybe a friend who turned on you as a kid. Maybe a partner who broke you in your 20s. Maybe a version of yourself you lost the year your family fell apart. I mean, somewhere there is a moment, a loss, a wound, something your mind ran the loop for a long time, and so long that until it quietly hardened into the way you see the world. And right now, in this very week, there is a relationship in your life where you are pulling away. There is a person you can't quite let in. There is a moment where you went quiet when they needed you to stay open. And you would jump to conclusion, oh, I stayed quiet because they didn't allow me to open when I wanted them, right? Mostly it's with parents and or your one of that ex or really close friend. But it's not about them. You have to turn your gaze inwards if you really want to heal. Of course, blaming is the easiest path about going in life. You just blame the person and move on, right? You if you can really move on by blaming people, I wish we could. I really wish we could. But that's not how this works. And most probably you think that, yeah, that's just my type. It's who I am. If someone treats me a certain way, I will treat them a certain way, and that's who I am. That's how I act. But it's not who you are. It's kind of funny. It's a bruise that became a lens. Last night, Jordan couldn't sleep. His partner had said something at dinner, something small. They asked, why don't you ever want to talk about your future with me? And Jordan felt the contraction again right in his chest. The pulling away that happens before you know or you can decide to pull away. But this time, for the first time in 18 years in his adult life, he didn't try to explain it. He didn't say, that's how I am. He didn't say, it's commitment issues. He didn't make a joke about it. He didn't try to change the subject. For sake, he just stayed with the contraction. And he asked it in his own chest. He asked the question. He said, "How old are you?" And something in him answered, not in words, in the feeling of a 14-year-old boy lying in a bed, deciding never to love anything that much again. Jordan, age 32, lying next to his partner, met that boy on that night. And you know what he did? He didn't fix him. He didn't talk him out of it. He didn't promise him anything. He just let him be there. For the first time in 18 years, almost 2 decades, and the contraction began to soften up very slowly. He felt lighter. That's it. That's the practice. When something contracts in you that's bigger than the situation deserves, that's the bruise speaking to you. That's the boy, that's the girl asking you to see him, her, the version of you that decided sometime long time ago, then never told you they decided it. You don't have to fix them. They don't need fixing. You don't have to know what year it was. You don't have to remember the exact moment. You just have to ask the contraction one question: how old are you? And then let whatever is there know that you are here now for them.